No, B, I know you've been sitting there waiting to tell us something, so the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah. Listen, Detroit Lions fans, it looks like the Lions are getting that much more healthy. James Houston is back, and that starts his 21-day practice window. That means that the Lions have 21 days to either add him to the active roster or put him back on season-ending IR, on the injured reserve list. I think that this is awesome news. Mm-hmm. You talk about Aiden Hutchinson, who all year we've talked about the fact that he's needed somebody on that line to be able to help kind of free him up. So, you think about the numbers he got last year and the production he had last year. Well, he also had James Houston with him. And I'm hoping if they do activate James Houston, it looks like that they're going to wind up doing that they just allow him to pass rush. I know that they were experimenting, kind of moving him around, dropping him back into coverage. Just let that man pass rush and get after the quarterback. He gets off the line quick. He gets in the backfield fast. And he's just a nasty, nasty defender.
I agree with you.
I'm excited.
I'm not calling my shot here. I'm not calling my shot here, but I'm sure you guys will all remember that when the Giants won the Super Bowl in 2011, they kind of meandered their way through the season. They went 9-7, but something changed when the playoffs started. All of a sudden, they got healthy on their defensive line, and they got after the quarterback. They got after the quarterback. And I mean, it was all the difference in the world, and that, in my mind, is what catapulted them to a Super Bowl. I'm not sitting here calling my shot, Shep, and saying that, James Houston is the difference between the Lions winning a Super Bowl. But, man, the NFL today is pretty simple in this regard. There's two things that need to happen. It's what can your quarterback do to the opposition, and can you get after the opposition's quarterback? Mm-hmm. That's the National Football League today. It really, whether we can get all geeky and talk about schemes and all. What can your quarterback do to the opposition, and can you get after the quarterback on the opposition? And a guy like that, Shep, I think helps the Lions get after the opposition's quarterback.
Yeah, he's a young guy. What is he, 25? He had a broken leg, right? Was that the injury? Broken fibula?
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So having that type of situation, you have to be very careful. But youthful, it's going to take a while. I don't care what anybody says. He doesn't come back and just start tearing things up, I don't believe. I think this league, you got to give this league a little bit more credit than that. But there's no question that's what this team has missed all along. Are they weak on the defensive side of the ball in certain situations? Yes. But pass rushing can make up for a lot of things. So it's just like we were talking about earlier with the goaltending. If you can get after the quarterback and make them uncomfortable, and personally, I would prefer a rush from the middle. Okay, I want, depending on the quarterback, right? I mean, obviously you don't want Patrick Mahomes running outside, but if you got outside containment, if you get a rush, if you can get a push up the middle, the quarterbacks will tell you, it's one thing coming from the edge, they can step up.
Yeah.
But if you're coming in their face and it affects your eyesight, I don't care who you are, you're dropping back to pass, you're going to look for a moment, okay? The middle of the pass rush, I think, is just as vital as the edge. I think that's why they move Hutchinson around. So if they wanted to move James Houston around, I wouldn't mind that. Anywhere he can get to the quarterback is fine by me. I'm not going to designate him on one edge or another. I want to move some of my best defensive players around and make it cumbersome for the quarterback and, quite honestly, the offensive line. Look, that's the big reason why I'll watch football with friends and I'll sit there and go, this is what I want to see. I like to call plays as the game's going on. I want bunch formation. I want stack formation. This whole spread out stuff, you give your defensive secondary so much more room to figure out who's got who. If we got bunch and we got stack, you're asking, you can run different formations off that. It's a problem. It's the same thing of the defensive line. If James Houston is stunting or if he's starting in the middle and sometimes he's on the edge, you're causing all kinds of confusion. If he's that athletic, and we know he is, I'm all for moving him inside once in a while.
You know what the best way to fix an iffy secondary is? Get after the quarterback.
Right.
I mean, it's not really, honestly, it's amazing what a good, solid pass rush can do. If you're getting after the quarterback and you're pressuring him in the ways that you just spoke, my goodness gracious, that makes everybody better. And all of a sudden, you saw it the other day in the Minnesota game, right?
Right.
Those guys were waiting on a couple of his throws. They were. Oh baby, I see. You see the eyes getting wide like Timmy. Yeah, I mean, honestly, they were just waiting to jump that route because he was selling where he was going to go. So, yeah, that's it. Oh, that could be huge, man. That could be huge.
Yeah.
Let's
think about this. If they play the Rams, do you want quarterback pressure from the edge or up the middle with Matthew Stafford?
up the middle.
up the middle.
1,000%.
Up the middle.
For sure.
Up the middle.
If they play Seattle. Look, Geno Smith can get outside a little bit better than Matthew Stafford.
Up the middle.
I
Up
still
the
want it
middle.
up the middle. I mean, that's the whole point, right? I mean, and I think that was, going back to our conversation yesterday, that's a reason many people wanted Jalen Carter. I didn't necessarily want him, but that's the reason people wanted him.